Hello everybody, welcome back to the Frankie Time Machine series. It's been a while since we last did one of these videos, but we're back now with the brief history of sponsorship in Formula 1. So let's get straight into it. So before sponsorship came into Formula 1, teams ran the national colour of their team. So like Italian teams would be red, which of course is the origin of the Ferrari colour scheme, of course, that iconic colour scheme. And British teams are British Racing Green, which is still in itself a motorsport icon. And currently what Aston Martin run alongside their Aston Martin Racing, the lighter green, of course, so there's light green hints on that car. So some cars had like tyre manufacturers or just spark plug manufacturers, that kind of thing, just like parts of the car, that their kind of logos on the car, but nothing other than that really. In 1968, Lotus were the first team to ever roll out an F1 car which had a sponsor-based livery, which it was no longer the now iconic British Racing Green. It was actually white and red, and it had gold leaf tobacco. Now, take note of that, because tobacco and Formula 1 become synonymous with each other, really, even after they banned in F1, which I'll get onto in a minute. Now, from here on in, all the teams start getting sponsors. In the early days, mainly, it was just tobacco sponsorship, and that's because smoking was very normalised back then. So Gitane sponsors Ligier, McLaren was sponsored by Marlboro, which of course sparked the longest partnership in F1 history, and the iconic John Player special Lotus livery, just to name a few, all sprung up. However, mainly consisted of just one sponsor on the car. Now, when the 1980s rolled around, the 1980s continued the tradition of having tobacco sponsors. Whilst multi-sponsor car liveries started to appear, this was an era dominated by Williams and McLaren, and this showed by the amount of sponsors on their cars, and the Marlboro-McLaren partnership raged on. So, the 1990s would see the end of the Marlboro-McLaren partnership, unfortunately, but it offered us some amazing liveries like the 1992 Williams, the 1991 McLaren, the 1995 Benetton, and the 1998 McLaren, that beautiful silver car that, of course, Mika Hakkinen took to victory. So the 2000s, that would be the end of tobacco companies sponsoring F1, kind of. In 2005, the EU banned tobacco sponsorship in sports, and thus, teams got rid of the tobacco logos. However, with such a large income from the industry, teams got creative. The famous barcode Ferrari, where they had this image of the side of their car on the screen now. But if there was a blur from the from motion, of course, the motion blur from the cars driving past, it would vaguely resemble the Marlboro chevron. And later down the line, Ferrari altered their logo to this dubious design here, meant to resemble the Marlboro chevron. However, Ferrari weren't the only ones at it. Many teams currently run tobacco sponsorship with shell companies, which are basically companies that just kind of don't exist, and they represent a different company, pretty much. So McLaren have a Better Tomorrow emblazoned on the side of their car. When you visit the website, it's basically just a load of waffle. And the parent company, British American Tobacco. And if you look here on the logo, you will see here that it has a resemblance to the Lucky Strike cigarette brand on this little circle bit. Ferrari have Mission Winnow. Another waffle on the website reveals it's just Marlboro. Well, that was a fairly short video, but I hope you did enjoy it. Please subscribe if you're new around here.